Okay, well, hi, it's Dr. Pam, and welcome to Academic Coaching for World Changers. Tonight, we're talking about, I think the title is Clinical Interventions. I'm not going to lie. Is that the title tonight? What am I teaching?
Supervision and social work.
Supervision and social work. Wow, I was totally off base. Okay, so that lets me know that I really wasn't paying attention to my schedule. Um, so in general, as we go over questions, I'm going to try to teach content and then take it back to questions. So for my LC, first of all, in general, you're the very best social worker. Whenever we're reading test questions, I want you to remember you're the very, very best. There are three reasons only to take supervision. Countertransference. My feelings are in the way. Okay. Education. The supervisor knows a little bit more about this new information, blah, blah, blah. And then how I run the office. So that goes back to those indirect practice questions of cost effectiveness, cost benefit, how we run that. So remember, cost effectiveness is about money. One of the things that we're not taught, and you please tell me, but in our graduate school level, did anybody get a class on business or finance?
No, not at all.
But yet on the test questions are questions about grant funding and how to apply for a grant and how to pay for those things. And those are things that most of us just aren't exposed to. And I really don't recall and as again, I'm a college professor. I don't know where that's supposed to be taught. So I've learned it because for the studying test material, and I definitely at the doctoral level, I've learned it. But I clearly remember at my master's level a million years ago. I know, you guys weren't even born. That I said to my professor, I don't want to be a supervisor. I just want to be a therapist. I took the clinical track. I just want to be a therapist. And she said to me, um, if you stay in the field, you'll end up being a supervisor. And whether it's supervising in your own practice, because it's just you and you've got to figure out how to pay the bills, or supervising an agency, that was just true, right? Just knowing that there are parts of this test that are about supervision that we just weren't prepared for. Can anybody honestly say that they've had really good supervision from an LCSW?
I did. I had great supervision. Yeah,
What made it so great?
because she's very knowledgeable and she's an LM.
What did she teach you that made it so great? Can you be more specific with me?
Yeah, well, I learned a lot about agencies and like programming. Like I learned how to start programs and run programs. I even learned
Okay, so let's stay there. Let's stay there for test questions. So formative and summative. What do those terms mean?
the summative. That's the like the ending, the results.
Okay.
Okay. Formative is the gathering information about what's getting ready to be done or what needs to be done.
Okay. So I've got this grant money because most often that's where that comes from. It's grant money, and now I'm starting this agency. Um, and so tell me how I've written the goals. What does the formative look like at that point?
I graduated like 5 years ago, Doc. I don't know. Can you tell me?
I'm sorry, did you say 5 years ago?
Yeah.
Girl, I teach you that graduated 25 years ago. So I'm sorry. Nah, nah, nah. You don't get no pity from me at all. 5 years ago? That was please, please, please. Okay. I was gonna say I got, ooh, no, 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 no pity at all.
Oh
Okay.
gosh.
Okay. So, um, anybody else want to throw in thoughts?
You have to gather information, check first of a needs assessment to see if program is needed in the community.
So I did that before. That's the first step before I got the money. right?
You had the
But
money
once I
now.
got the money, now I've got this grant funded, right? They gave me some money. So I began to, so let's go back. I did the needs assessment. I've determined that this is what's needed. Not, and it's recorded, guys. You know that, right? So as I speak in general. So not every program requires a needs assessment. Let's talk about real world. When COVID was very active, every agency, every city, every zip code needed to have a place for COVID testing. They did, right? The CDC was giving out grant money for COVID testing sites. Y'all remember going to, like, it used to be an old gas station, or it was a empty building, and all of a sudden it's a COVID testing site. Do you remember doing that? Okay, because what happened is the CDC said, we've got this money. Everybody needs to be tested for COVID. You didn't have to do a needs assessment. There was no need for that because obviously there was a need. And you can't say we ain't doing this, because every zip code needed to have that place. So part of that then meant you didn't do the needs assessment. You applied for the grant, and all you had to do was read the grant and make sure that you qualified for it. Right? You had to have maybe a doctor or a medical professional on staff. Were they the ones actually doing the test? I don't think so. I don't think we ever saw any actual people, doctors doing the test, but that was part of it. You had to have someone on staff that would do that. You had to have the materials, which they provided, all of those things you had to have. So then, when I wrote the grant or filled out the application for the grant, this is what I want. But if I got there, if we started the grant and I realized that the goals that I've written weren't working, that's the formative. That's the beginning stages, right? It just wasn't working. So then in the formative stage, I can change. I can say that despite what I wrote in the grant, most of my clients don't speak English. I need to change the rules. I need to understand that most of them don't get out until after 5. So working 9 to 5, opting up in 9 to 5 is not going to work for me. So the formative is when I first get those rules, and then I'm able to go back and change them while the agency is still forming. Now, if someone asks you later about the summative, that's the end. The summative is now we've done all of these things, and did it work? So someone says, wow, I really like the way that you did that. I'd like to do the same thing. You're going to give them the summative, the summary of how it worked. Okay. So I see you trying to write down every word I say. Nanafu. Say it again.
Nanefwa.
Nanefa, Nanefa, Nanefa. It's recorded, and I'm going to say, I'm going to ask you to watch it 17 times because I talk really, really fast. So be in the moment, and I talk really fast. Okay.
Okay.
So anyway, so part of supervision is learning how I run my agency, and I'll give you a handout based on that. I really will. What I just want to kind of talk about is just in conversation is what it looks like on test questions. Tell me what you've seen in your study questions. Tell me how you know if it's a supervision question. I've said to you in the beginning, I'll go back, that we very rarely seek supervision. We very rarely. There are three reasons. Again, countertransference, right? And it's not about me ever. It's about the client. So if it's transference, a client comes to me and says, in session, Dr. Pam, you are just so fine. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to come see you every week. You're the best thing on this earth. What do I do first?
Talk about it.
What am I going to say to him or her?
Having these feelings are are normal.
Okay.
And then you set some boundaries.
Okay. Now I've mentioned it, and now it's 2 weeks later, and they come back with that same stuff. Dr. Pam, you are just the bomb diggity. And I'm like, I know, right? I know. Okay, I'm not gonna say that. But so the client has come back. What do I do then?
Seek supervision.
Right. Okay. Tell me why, Quinique, why do I seek supervision at that point?
Because you've already addressed the comments and tried to set the boundaries. So now it's time to seek supervision before you make another step.
Before I kill him, is what I say.
Well, or refer
That's
out.
exactly what I say. Somebody needs to know if he keeps doing this, I'm gonna kill him. Okay. So I did what I was supposed to do. And at that point, then that's when I seek supervision. And it's really CYA. It really is about making sure that I understand, they understand that no, no, no. Okay. Counter transference is when my feelings get in the way. Okay. I like them too much. I don't like them at all. Blah, blah, blah. Y'all am I gonna own up and admit that you have a client you didn't like? Come on. You've had one. You disguise their name, make them green and blue or whatever. Okay, you perfect social workers. I have had some clients that I liked too much or that I didn't like. The ones I don't like are easier to recognize. When I like them too much, for me, that's the problem. I don't do everyday practice anymore. I haven't done it in like 37,000 years. Okay, not that long. But and this is I say it in a video all the time. I do the consultation with public schools. Um, I totally believe that most public schools don't know what to do with Black boys. That's a strong belief I have, and my based on my criminal justice background and my substance abuse expertise. We just need to stop it. We need to find other ways to deal with children of color. I got called into this case. I was the second call they made. It was a mom. One was 25. Yeah, 25. She had four boys under the age of 8. 8, 6, I think 8, 6, 4, and he wasn't even 2. The mom had four boys. I got called in because the 6-year-old had bought a gun to school, mama's gun. He brought it in the clear backpack that was required for school. He did not brandish it. He did not do anything. It was caught by a staff member after school. Okay. You know, I live in the South. There's a zero gun policy. They're ready to suspend him for the rest of his life. My thought is he didn't brandish it. I'm not saying that it was okay, but he didn't. It was the end of the day, and the teacher saw it. He didn't show it. He didn't tell anybody. He wasn't bragging. So my thought is he needs to be treated a little bit differently, right? I just that's my thought. That's my thought. So as I'm doing the assessment with this family, mom is just a piece of work. She is a piece of work. Oh my God. She um when I structural family therapy, right? The first thing we do is structural family therapy is we join the family, right? Because they're either enmeshed, too close, or disengaged. They were very disengaged. You had no idea what the kids were doing. So the first thing you do is when you're joining the family is you usually come up with trying to come up with a behavior chart. These are the rules of the family, right? I've got the 6-year-old's my kid, but everybody's involved. And one of the first rules that I'd never heard before is if you don't live here, you can't eat our food. If you watch my videos, I use this story, but have you ever heard that in general with the from a kid's viewpoint?
Only in your videos.
Yeah, I'll say now, and
Never
growing
heard
up
it
in my
before.
house, my mama might have said, don't be feeding that food there in the neighborhood. It's got to last all forever, right? But in general, in this one, I just haven't heard that rule. And as I go to explore the rules, I understand that mom gets a crap ton of food stamps for all these kids, and she feeds whatever man of the day is there. Right? She gets her nails done, she goes out to eat, and she doesn't feed the kids. She just doesn't. So in that situation, really knowing about setting up the rules and the boundaries is what I needed to do first. I did not like this mother. I cannot tell you, and I'm trying so many reasons to like this mother. I didn't. I just didn't like her. I just didn't like her. I thought she was a narcissist. After I got to know her, I was right. She was a narcissist, but her mother was schizophrenic. You know what? So, given growing up with someone who was crazy, literally, you had to learn to protect yourself. So she really was all about her needs, and she wasn't about that. So part of that was needed, and I'll say always, I needed to consult with somebody. So my LC says consultation because you don't require supervision anymore. But my LM is my feelings were in the way. I wanted to choke this woman. I did. And I'm supposed to write a report for the court that's being non-biased. I couldn't stand her. So I had to really seek consultation and focus on what I liked about her. Those are the rules of what we do when it comes to supervision and consultation. So there are three roles. Remember, my goal is to make sure that as a supervisor, I help my supervisee when countertransference comes in because my stuff gets in the way. It's about the client, not about me. You know, you can't be friends with your people on Facebook, right?
Uh-huh.
Why not?
Major boundary violation. That just, you don't do that.
Tell me what does
Crossing
that mean?
boundaries.
What
No,
whose
you can't
whose
friend. No,
boundary am I violating?
no. The clients and yourself, because you have the ethical
Does the test care
responsibility.
about you?
The
No.
client more so. Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have violated HIPAA because I'm in their page without permission.
Mhm.
All of us all day are like, oh my God, I can't see my stuff. They might know. The test doesn't care. The only time that you can go to a client's YouTube or Facebook or whatever is if you think there's imminent danger. And you'll see that especially like school shooting type of questions. Then yeah, in those I can. I can. But in general, I don't get the right to go to the client's page. That's just not an option. Okay, I've violated their HIPAA. So remember, and yes, I know the Code of Ethics and talks about the importance of taking care of ourselves, but you're not going to find very many questions about that at all. Okay. Okay, so let's just kind of look at some questions. We're going to do some intervention questions, and I know it's supervision, but we're looking at what we do to intervene. Now, I'm going to start with you, Mastermind. Do you see this question? If you've seen it before, let me know.
Nope, yeah, share the screen, Doc.
Oh, you don't want it to be a mind reading test. You will be so very scarred. Good.
A social worker is consulting with the parents of a young adult who has been recently diagnosed as having bipolar disorder. The social worker should first. So you have a social worker who's speaking to the parents of a young adult who has been diagnosed with bipolar, and they want to know what the social worker should do first. A, obtain a family history of the
Stay
client.
on my question. Stay on my question. Okay. And again, I always want to make sure we understand the question. So what do I know about this diagnosis of bipolar?
Bipolar is a mood disorder uh,
Hmm.
where a client could have a mania or mania and or hypomania and depression. So
And
you
it doesn't differentiate in this question between bipolar 1 and bipolar 2, does it?
nope. it doesn't.
Do we know the difference since we're here though?
Yeah, bipolar one, 7 days of mania. It does not require depressive episode. Bipolar two, you have to have the
Oh, nope. Bipolar one does require, both of them say I should have had one major depression. Remember, major depression is 2 weeks. Okay. And most often that's how it's diagnosed. So what has happened is I started off as what I thought to believe to be a major depressive episode. It's 2 weeks. And they put me on medicine and suddenly my mood begins to elevate. So I'm bipolar 2. How much hypomania? So what's my mood going to look like?
hypomania is like 4 days.
4 days or less, right?
Yeah.
People may not even notice. I have a friend that's bipolar 2. And I can tell you because every so often I just get that conversation at like about 5 a.m. Hey, you know what? And it's not crazy. She's not out shopping. She didn't pick up anybody. She just didn't need that much sleep last night. So it happens, and I can't. She's my friend. I don't ever try to be a therapist in my friend's life. That's not my goal. Okay. So remember, both of them are going to start off with that major depression. So it's 2 weeks of major depression always. And then my bipolar one is a full blown manic episode, and this is going to be at least 7 days. My bipolar two is a hyper, right? And we go back. My bipolar two, I'm going to give you a different picture because my bipolar two does not have to go back down. My bipolar one will, my bipolar two does not have to. The higher the highs, the lower the lows. Have you heard that before?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what does that mean?
I guess the
Anybody?
The longer the manic episode, the worse the depression is, or longer the depressive episodes will be.
Got it, got it. So if I have a major full-blown so again 2 weeks of depression, that's where they both start there. And now if I go all the way back up, I'm going to come all the way back down.
oh,
That's a bipolar one. The bipolar two, I don't ever have to come all the way back down again. It only has to happen once.
Dr. Pam.
Hmm.
Does it progress? Like, does it get worse? So, can someone start off with the cyclothymia and then go to bipolar?
You can't start off with cyclothymia. How come?
I don't
What's
know.
the time frame? What's the time frame?
It's 2 years, right?
Well, how can you start off with 2 years?
Okay. Okay.
Does that make sense? I mean, I can't start off with 2 years. It's 2 years in adults, 1 year in children. So it's not going to start off with that. It may progress to that because it hadn't got any better, but it can't start off with that.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Keep talking to me.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused because like if someone come and they tell you their symptoms and they say, "Well, I've been like this for 2 years," right?
Then it's if they're an adult, it can be bipolar one. It can be. Remember, cyclothymia is you don't meet the rules for bipolar one or bipolar two.
Okay.
Okay, that's a better image. Okay, I teach to the test. Remember, in the real world, doctors, clinicians make up their own crap. I teach the right answer to the test. Okay. So what we know is that both bipolar 1 and bipolar 2 start off with 2 weeks of major depression. Okay. Unipolar, that's just depression. Major depression is diagnosed at 2 weeks. Okay, so I've got 2 weeks. And then what happens is the question will say, Pam comes in with suicidal ideations. We put her on a SSRI, right? A Prozac, a Zoloft, one of those. And suddenly her mood lifts. It lifts, it lifts, it lifts. Okay. If it's all the way up, where now Dr. Pam is full blown crazy. I'm out there sleep with everybody. I'm shopping. I bought a new car, bought a new house. I'm doing really irrational behavior. A bipolar one will end me up, I will often end up in jail or hospitalization. It's very clear that my behavior is off the chart. I normally say Kanye West. I don't know why I haven't been sued yet. Obviously, he doesn't watch my videos, but that's what I'm going to say. I'm also going to say, and you guys know that I've watched every P video, but I'm going to say P. Diddy. I really am. If I had to put a clinical diagnosis there, I would too. In that high zone, nothing matters. I am amazing. I can do whatever I want to do. Great. Now, what happens, remember, so it's a minimum of a week, but it can last for months. But when I crash from bipolar one, I'm going to go all the way back down to another major depressive episode. My bipolar two does not. But both of them start off with major depression. Bipolar one, all the way up, off the chain crazy, minimum of 7 days. I go back down, I hit rock bottom, I go back up. My hypo less than bipolar 2 is going to be 2 weeks of depression. It then goes up to 4 days or less. People may never notice, but I never have to hit another depressive episode again. Okay. Dyscyclothymia is 2 years of the ups and downs, more ups than downs, but it does not meet the criteria for bipolar 2, and 2 years in adults, 1 year in children. Does that make sense? And again, everything we do is recorded. If you just watch this video 15 times and let me be in your head, we're good. I promise you. Okay, we're going back to the question though. Mastermind?
All right. Want me to read it again?
I want you to, yes, please.
All right. A social worker is consulting with the parents of a young adult who has recently been diagnosed as having bipolar disorder. The social worker should first obtain a family history of the client, identify programs available for the client, provide information about the disorder, develop ways to maintain the client's independence. Okay.
What can I rule out?
D and B.
Okay. So now between A and C, which one of these things we're going to get down to two, we're going to go back to the question, right? And figure out which one of these answers the question.
Social worker is consulting with the parents of a young adult who has been recently diagnosed as having bipolar disorder. The social worker should first either obtain a family history of the client or provide information about the disorder. I would say A.
Nope.
Really?
hmm
But wouldn't A be like an assess?
Do I need to assess in this question?
Oh, I guess not because they have bipolar already. Right.
They've already been diagnosed. I don't need to get the family horse history. That's the assumption is that's been done already.
Okay.
Okay. Now talk to me because I think that's probably one of the things that you do often and we get lost. So tell me why that's the best answer.
Why provide information about the disorder is the best answer?
Tell me how you got there. That's really what I want to know is how you are able to just uh automatically go to A. What happened was,
What had happened was I keep hearing Dr. Pam in my ear saying assess, assess, assess.
does that mean you didn't read the question?
I didn't because I didn't think like, oh, they've already been diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
So they put them words there just to mess with your head.
No, ma'am. Nope, they didn't.
I yes. So I do. You're amazingly smart and you come so close every single time. And I think that's the problem is you're just not reading the question.
Mhm,
He's already been diagnosed, so this is not an assessment. This is an intervention.
mhm, mhm.
Anybody else want to process that? Would have gone differently?
Doc, I have to step away for like a few minutes to grab a space heater. The people here to deliver it. I'll be right back.
Okay. Okie dokie. Clinic?
When a social worker has direct knowledge of a social work colleague's impairment that interferes with effective practice, the social worker should first
Stay in my question. What does it mean?
um, the social worker in question does have direct knowledge of another colleague's impairment and it's causing issues with that person providing proper services. What should the social worker with the knowledge do first?
I'm pretty sure that would have got caught in the plagiarism app. I don't I don't think that you actually uh re uh re phrased it. I think you restated it, and I need you to put it in your own words so I know that you understand.
In my own words,
I'm just, that's really how we learn how to pass the test. It's just we've got to understand the question. What is it asking me?
well, is asking the social worker knows that a colleague slash friend that they work with is not working properly, is
Hmm.
not providing the best services. And
Absolutely. So code of ethics, perhaps?
yes,
Okay. Now let's read all four. What am I going to do?
design a short term intervention to stabilize the situation. Notify the agency director so that the employee assistance services can be assessed. Report the situation to the social work licensing board. And lastly, consult with that colleague when feasible and assist the colleague in taking remedial action. I'm going to rule
Rule
out
out. Okay.
the
Yes, we
first
always rule
one
out. Okay. Why am I taking that out?
because why am I going to my colleague to create an intervention to stabilize their behavior?
Absolutely. I
Not as
don't
the
make
first
near
step,
that
no.
much money, do I? That ain't my job to fix I can barely fix myself. I can't be fixing no colleagues. Yes, good.
And I'm going to rule out report the situation to the social work licensing board.
Okay. I might do that, but I wouldn't do that first. Now you're between B and D. Which one of those things would come first?
D, I'm going to talk to my colleague first.
Very good. Very good. Be very careful because some of the times I see confront. We don't do that. We don't confront our colleague. I ain't they mama. We work with them. That was totally code of ethics. When I seek supervision in the situations after I went to them first, and it didn't do nothing, and they still in the same place. So then we do something different. Okay. Uh, I wrote it down. Uh, no, none of you, none of
Nane
you.
one. Mm-hmm. A
Say it again.
hospital. Nane one. A
None
hospital
of
social worker. Yes, ma'am. A hospital social worker meets with an 85-year-old man who was brought in by a neighbor due to concerns for possible abuse or neglect. The neighbor reports that the client has no immediate family in the area and usually assisted by a caregiver from a home health care nurse. The social worker is suspicious of the abuse would be, I'm sorry, can you move down those words for me? Because it's kind of running
Hmm.
together, if you don't mind. Just
Is
put a
there
space between
something
the
blocking it?
vignette and the answer. Just space it out for me. Yeah, right after that. Just thank you. The social worker
Let me
suspicious
go
of
back
the
to my
abuse.
question first. Understand my
No,
question.
you're fine. You're
No, I
fine.
want you to understand my question though.
I didn't read the last sentence. The
Okay,
social
so
worker suspicions of abuse would be heightened if the patient.
okay, so stay in my question before I look at any of the answers. That's what I want you to do. I want to understand what's happening in the question.
Okay. Okay. 85-year-old man was brought into the hospital, possible abuse.
Hmm.
Referenced that the neighbor reported has no immediate family members, so the caregivers involved. The social worker has some suspicions of what this a possible abuse.
Got it, got it. Okay, so then the social worker suspicions of abuse would be heightened. What would make me worry more in this particular situation? Okay,
Okay.
let's read all four.
First is has injuries and is not able to explain how he got them. Refuses to leave the hospital. Declines to answer the questions, or states that he does not like the home health care worker. So I'm going to do process of elimination. I will remove C and D. Decline to answer questions and state he does not like the home health care worker.
And I took out C2.
Decline to answers the question. You can, yeah, you go ahead with that one too. So,
Okay.
between A and B, has injury and is not able to explain how he got him. Or B refuses to leave the hospital. I would go with the injuries was the most obvious, evident, the injuries.
So my answer is
A.
very good. Very good. How is adult abuse different than child abuse?
How is adult abuse? That's a good question. Abuse is abuse, so you'll have to help me on that answer.
Well, we can stay there. So remember, adults have the right to whether they want to leave or not. Okay. So if
Right.
adult is being abused and financial exploitation, especially, if they say, yes, little Bobby takes all my money, but they want to stay, that's up to them.
Mhm.
Children don't have that choice, right?
Right.
Okay. Also, child abuse is a federal guideline. That means there's a state, every state you call the same 1-800 number. Adult abuse is decided by the state. So every state doesn't have the same rule. Okay. Going back to you, Mastermind.
What is the first action the social worker should take in response to the client's grief over his dog's death? They have a client who's grieving over his dog's death,
Mhm.
and they want to know what is the first action that the social worker should take. Refer to a psychiatrist for medication evaluation, encourage client to attend a grief support group, normalize his feelings of grief about his dog, provide psychoeducation on the stages of grief. So I will get rid of the first one, and also I will get rid of the second one.
Okay. So what's my answer?
The answer is to normalize his feelings of grief about his dog.
And how do I know that?
Because in the question stem, it discussed his feelings.
Very good, because feelings trump assessment. Sorry, one second. Okay. Okay, I'm with you, Quinny.
After conducting a needs assessment of a local community, a social worker identifies multiple community needs, including services for children, the elderly, and single parents. In order to help prioritize the needs of the community, what should the social worker do first? There is what looks like a community social worker conducting the needs of services for people in the area or the community and wants to identify what is actually needed. So we have A, identify local agencies serving those populations. B, hold a community meeting to share results. Determine which group has the most resources. Conduct a survey for community members to identify service needs. I'm gonna rule out A.
Did I go through and understand the question first? Did I miss that part? Maybe you did.
I did that after I read what
Okay.
should the
So
social worker do.
what's the problem?
There's a community in need of services,
Okay.
and the social worker is conducting a needs assessment to see which needs should be met.
Okay.
Um, I'm gonna rule out C.
See? Cat.
Yes, C as in cat. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna pick D because we playing with the client.
Okay. So let's go back to the question and tell me
Mhm.
what in the question supports that answer.
Because the local community includes children, the elderly, and single parents.
Okay. And what have I
And
done already?
con- oh, she's already conducted the needs assessment.
Does it say that?
After conducting a needs assessment of a local community,
Okay.
a social
Uh,
worker identifies
Keep going. Identify multiple
multiple
community
community
needs.
needs,
Okay. So I've done that
including.
part, right? So
Mm-hmm,
now what I know is I have to prioritize the needs of the community. Okay.
mm-hmm.
So don't I still keep assessing?
You do keep assessing.
And so my answer would be D. Okay, I did that. I already did what I needed to do. So now I need to figure out what's the priority. Are there 30,000 old people or just five? So we still get paid to assess all the time. Even though we think we've assessed, we still keep doing it. We just keep asking the questions. Makes sense?
Makes sense.
So if I can't intervene, I'm still trying to assess. None of you?
What of the following is most ethical focus of supervision? So we're looking at from an ethics standpoint, ensuring the supervisees follow the supervisor's personal clinical style. monitoring supervisees' compliance with agency culture, enhancing clients' welfare through supervisees' growth and accountability, or preparing the supervisee for administrative leadership. So, process of elimination, we can get rid
Mhm.
of D. And ensuring the supervisee follows the supervisee's personal clinical style, we could get rid of A.
Mhm.
So that now becomes between B and C. And monitoring supervisor
We're going to go back
compliance,
to the question. Go back to the question. Which one
ethical,
answers the question?
ethical focus of the supervision,
The whole question. Oh,
which
I'm
is,
sorry.
oh,
It's a whole
which is,
line. It's one line, so you're good. I apologize.
uh, so enhancing clients' welfare through supervisee's growth and accountability. I would have to say is the answer, C.
It is. That's always the right answer. Ain't nothing about us ever, ever, ever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Make it's always about what's best for the client.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Always,
Yes,
always.
ma'am.
One second. The clinical intervention question for you. That's true. You see that?
Justice, age 7, witnessed a car crash which resulted in the death of someone close to her. Justice faces intermittent sleep, nightmares, and fear of riding in the car. Which of the following intervention strategies is most appropriate for Justice? So you have a 7-year-old who witnessed a car crash that resulted in the death of someone that was close to her. She's having issues with sleep. She's having nightmares, and she fears riding in the car. And they want to know what intervention would be most appropriate for her. So we have cognitive behavior therapy, non-directive play therapy, dialectical behavior therapy, trauma-focused cognitive behavior therapy.
What am I going to rule out?
C,
Okay. And DBT is for who?
as for borderline.
Okay. Or anybody that's got their emotions are out of control, right? Okay.
And then A,
And what's wrong with CBT for this kid?
CBT is just changing the way you think.
Okay. Most often, because he's 7, he's just not there yet. He doesn't have enough verbiage. Most often we use that with adults, not with little kids.
Mhm.
Okay.
Um, so now this is kind of tough. Because initially I was going to say D, but if he don't have enough verbiage for the CBT, and trauma focused CBT probably wouldn't
We're going
work.
to go back to the question. You're not going to think.
Okay. Justice, age 7, witnessed a car crash which resulted in the death of someone close to her. Justice faces intermittent sleep, nightmares, and fear of riding in the car. Which of
So, what will we diagnose justice with?
PTSD?
Oh, and how do we treat PTSD then?
Um, with the trauma, it would be the trauma focused cognitive behavior therapy.
It would, it would. There's a very big difference between regular CBT and this one being trauma focused.
Okay.
Okay, it's a reading test. It's a reading test. Go back to the question. Back to the question. Okay. Regular CBT, it was not what I used. If it said play therapy, that was an option, and not it said non-directive play therapy. No, he's gone through some stuff. I need some directive. I need to tell him kind of what I need him to draw. Tell me what you saw. Tell me what you remember. So that's what made it the non-directive and not okay. Okay, Clinique.
Warren is a supervisor of case managers in a community health organization. He is contemplating the best method to evaluate staff performance from a client perspective, which is the best tactic to gather this information. Warren supervises case managers in a community health setting, and he's thinking about the best way to evaluate their performance and their thoughts on, I'm assuming, the agency, well, the organization, excuse me. Um, which is the best tactic to gather this information?
I still don't get that you understand the question, so try me again.
Um,
Tell me in your own words.
he's thinking about the best way to evaluate the staff from
From
the people who they work with perspective, the client's
absolutely,
perspective.
absolutely, absolutely. I want to know what the clients think about my staff. Okay. And and I don't be asking my client when I was in their stuff that day. Do I? I'd have to do some confrontation. Don't be interviewing that day. So, what is the best way to supervise and figure out how the client is feeling about their worker?
Okay. We have A, cold call interviewing, B, delegating the task to support staff, C, sending out a survey to each client with open-ended questions, D, advising the case manager to ask the questions to the clients about performance evaluation.
Remember, I'm looking for the best test answer. What am I ruling out?
Uh, I am ruling out um, advising the case manager to ask the questions to the client about their performance evaluation.
Are you suggesting that maybe the case manager or the client may lie to the case manager?
Possibly,
Is that what you're implying? Yes, you are,
possibly.
because I will say my client said I was the best. Yes, I am. My client said they ain't got no complaints at all. And also, my client just may not be honest with me, right?
Absolutely.
We have inherent power. So if they answer wrong, that I may take away some services. And I know none of you in the room would, but y'all know some people. Come on, don't act like all them social workers got some morality. Mm-mm. Okay. So yeah, that would not be the best way. And it's a best, remember? So best means there's more than one right answer. Okay. So what else can I take out?
I'm gonna take out C, sending out a
Okay.
survey to each
Okay.
client with open-ended questions.
Ooh. Hmm. Let's look at A.
Okay. Cold call interviewing. I guess we'll take that out.
Girl, you won't know if that caller ID ain't somebody you know, you ain't answering the phone. Let's just face facts. Yes. And if you call me during the middle of my work or my family's around, then you violated my IPA. Cold calling means I'm just going to call it at 2 and see what happens. So that is not what we're going to do. Does that make sense? You see how I got there?
I do see how you got there, but the same way you said that is how I'm thinking about the survey. But I remember a long time ago you said something important about surveys, but I cannot recall what that
Well, okay,
was.
I want you to not think. I just want you to read. This is not necessarily a in-depth theory you have to know. Just read. Okay.
Okay.
Did I mention it was a reading test? Have you heard that
Yes,
before?
you did
Okay,
several times.
I think I mentioned that 17 times an hour. Okay. So now between B and C, we're going back to the question, which one best answers my question?
Which is the best tactic to gather this information?
Uh-uh. All of the question, not just that last line that gave you all the other hints. So
Um,
somebody somewhere said just lead the last line. That's not true. Go back to the entire question. I'm a supervisor of case managers, and
mhm.
I work for a community health organization, and I just want to evaluate my staff performance from a client perspective. Between B and C, which one is the best? And they're both, again, they're both good because it's a bestesses question. What are you going to go with?
Um, I guess C, because we don't refer out. I don't know.
Okay, so you picked C originally, so why are we changing that?
I don't know.
You're going to have to help me out here. You're on the middle of test by yourself. You pay Dr. Pam all that damn money. You're on the test. You're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. You're cussing me out. You're calling me everything but a child of God. Come on now. Okay. So delegate the task to support the staff or sending out surveys to each client. Think out loud. What is your worry about B and C?
B, delegating the task to support staff. Who is the
That
support
means the
staff?
secretaries. That means the people that are not direct providers.
Okay.
Okay.
So that would be people who just doing a task. And then
Oh,
C,
whoa, 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 whoa. What does the question ask me?
what's the best way to gather the client's
You
perspective
keep
on
doing that.
services?
I need the whole thing. Whoever said to you this is all you need lied to you. They lied. They lied. They lied. You need every piece of material. Okay. So let me clarify.
Okay.
Staff doesn't always means it's not all social workers.
Okay.
Staff means it could be the custodian, it could be anybody. That's staff.
Okay.
Does
Because
that
I'm thinking
change how we
staff,
think?
yes, because I'm thinking staff is just social workers,
Oh,
or
so
case
any so let's
managers.
let me
Yeah.
just I just want to clear that very, very clearly. So on the test, if it says the clinicians or the social workers, it matters. The staff is anybody that works there. Okay.
Okay.
It didn't ask me how happy you are with your case manager or happy you are with your social worker. Do you see the question?
Yes.
It asked me, how do you, I'm trying to evaluate staff performance. So do you see that D is still the C, B is the same as D?
See that now. I didn't see that at first.
Okay. That's a piece of information that you need to know for the test. The staff is this is does not clearly identify who we're talking about. It's anybody that works there is staff.
That was a good question.
I just made it up for you just because I was really just trying to help you. I do write my own questions, but not this time of night. Okay. Actually, I do.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I am so not gonna lie. I did write questions today, just because most of my clients have seen my videos and you've seen all the questions I ask about this. So I did go someplace different today. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that was a
Okay.
good one.
We good? We good? Do we
Mhm.
understand? And that's a good piece. I'll try to come back to a question like that. I want you to understand that staff, whenever I see that in a question, and if you ever did, especially TDC, they're always clear about that. Staff does not mean my clinicians. Okay. Are we good? Do we everybody see how we got there? Or I just made it up. Do you want to ask me questions? Okay. Say that one more time. Not a few.
Nane fois.
Say it slowly for me.
Nane fois.
94.
Wa.
Nana. Mm-mm.
Nane fois.
Oh, you're using like a French accent that I don't even have. Nana. Foie. Like, like,
Yeah.
like foie.
Fois.
Like
Fois.
FOIS, like foie, like foie gras. Like you're using like I don't like words I don't even have in my vocabulary. Okay. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna spell it phonetically. Nana foie.
Nane fois.
Nana foie.
Fois.
Foie. Okay. Okay.
You got it.
Nana foie. No, I don't got it,
You,
but I
you,
will
you
get it.
had it. You did.
Okay. 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 If you
Everyone
hang
know
out
I
with
told you
me
so.
for a couple of seconds, I believe names are important. I
Yes,
really do.
I
I
agree.
think your mother named you that, and I don't ever want anyone to shorten their name to fit American beliefs. I just think that's such BS. So and the Black Americans, they got some messed up names.
Dr. Pam.
You know they do. Come on, come on. La Margarita. I was at my one of my jobs was um I was the director of a teen parent program where I had very young girls that would, name their babies. And they would come up with these very strange names. And the problem is they didn't know the history of it. So one of the reasons is, especially after slavery ended, is we didn't want to be John Smith. It was okay to go back to being Kuta Kente. It was okay. So that's the whole Malcolm X thing, the whole thing of the time where Americans went back and we picked up African names. We got rid of John Smith and Bob Jones. We just got rid of those because those weren't our names.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
the
You're right.
current generation that I was working with didn't understand the story behind that.
Mhm.
And I think mastermind names matter.
Yes.
And you're in the place where you got to choose a name that mattered. And I just think it matters. It matters, it matters, it matters. And
Absolutely.
I'm so sick of people that are not necessarily look like me, but not uh America because and then you butcher your name to fit American beliefs, and we don't need to do
Mm-hmm.
that. Except
Mm-hmm.
when you need an interview for a job. Just gonna put that out there. Okay, Nana Foi.
Yes.
Okay,
Um,
go ahead.
okay. We said Abe is Billy's case manager. Okay. After Billy, excuse me, describes his need, Abe facilitates conversations about the client's already established resources and how Billy has overcome his struggles in the past. Which method of intervention did Abe use? Okay, Abe's supervisor. Okay, Billy describes it. Okay, Abe facilitates conversations with the client. Okay. Okay. facilitates conversations about the client's already established resources. Okay, Abe's is Billy's supervisor, case manager, and or so he's trying to establish clients already established resources, how Billy can overcome. Okay, so Billy has some struggles and his case manager is trying to help him overcome these struggles. And so what would be the best intervention to be able to do that? So I'm looking at
What did he do? What did he do?
he clients already established resources, how Billy he just said he has some struggles. He didn't really list what the struggles were
Uh, so Abe facilitates conversation about his already established resources
and how
and
Billy can
how
overcome
he's
struggles
overcome that in the
in the
past.
past.
Okay,
Okay.
so he acknowledged the fact that, oh, this is that you did some good stuff already.
In the past, okay. And so if I'm looking at as far as overcoming struggles, I'm going to go with the strengths perspective. No, I'm sorry. I know you want me to
Read all
read all.
four, read all four.
I'm sorry. Strengths-based perspective, self-inventory, biopsychosocial assessment, mindfulness. The answer is A.
Okay, let's go through. You're right. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is solution focused.
Mm-hmm.
Solution focused theory talks about what's already working, right?
Right.
Mindfulness belongs to who? Anybody?
Mindfulness, DBT, Margaret
D
Mailer, I think.
DBT, absolutely, absolutely. Um, a biopsychosocial assessment is it saying the question that I did an assessment there?
No.
Okay. So that again, it's just a reading test. Very good. Very good. Try and get these just you come on, come on. Back to normal size. Vomit. Next weekend I will be traveling. So someone is going to teach for me next weekend. I'm going to live in Mexico City for the next 6 weeks. So it's just a travel day, so I can't teach on travel days. Okay, so uh, that's not true. No, I'm doing something different next Sunday. I'm traveling on Monday. I apologize for that. But I won't be available. Someone's going to be teaching for me. Okay, back to you, Mastermind.
Chrissy, LCSW, sees Henry in therapy. Chrissy responds to Henry's stress over losing his job by stating, "It's common to be anxious over the situation. Which communication technique did Chrissy use?" So you have Henry who's in therapy with Chrissy. Henry loses his job, and Chrissy told him that it's common to, be anxious over the situation. And the question wants to know the communication technique that the therapist used. So you have empowerment, acknowledgement, active listening, or normalizing. So
Okay, so stay on my question. Tell me in your own words, and I heard you go through it. So what's happening again? So what's the question asking me?
what communication techniques is the therapist using to with the statement that it's common to be anxious over a Henry situation? They want to know what technique that the therapist is using.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then,
All right. So empowerment, acknowledgement, active listening, or normalizing. So I'll get rid of uh, empowerment.
what theory would talk about that?
I don't know.
Feminist. Feminist theory says the client, whether you're a woman or not, that we're going to empower you. We're going to The world has done you dirty, and we're gonna fight for you. Okay.
And then acknowledgement, we can get rid of that one.
Okay.
And now the answer is normalizing.
Absolutely. What is B?
Acknowledgement.
I'm sorry, C. I apologize. What's C? That was my bad. What is that? What are?
You mean what does active listening mean?
Mhm.
Oh, just listening to the client, listening to what they're saying, is actively listening to them.
Okay, so there is a whole list of active listening skills. So
Mhm.
in general, what I know is active listening just means the client knows that I'm listening, right? Do I have to say anything to know that for my client to know that they're listening, that they know? Do I have to say anything for my client to know that I'm listening?
No.
Okay. So then that's where I said to you before about paraphrasing and reflection and those terms. Do we know those terms?
Yeah, paraphrasing is just kind of rephrasing what the client says. And
That keeps you out of like plagiarism jail, right? No Grammarly's going to come and get you.
mhm. And
Okay.
the other one was what? 'Cause I know that one. What did you call it?
What's reflection?
Reflection is when you're reflecting with the client's feelings.
Got it, got it. Restatement.
Restatement. You restate what the client said.
Exactly. In their exact same words. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, this is a very typical list. When I started off this conversation, I talked about formative and summative. So if we remember, summarizing still belongs at the end. Okay.
Dr. Pam, you just put a list up. Can you enlarge that? I couldn't see it.
I put it in the chat box
Oh,
and
you
it's
did. I'm
also
sorry.
on the list, so you'll get it both ways. You can right click it and save it right now to your chat box. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. So I'm going to stay with you, Mastermind. Mhm. Oh, it's got to be on my one page. Higher work working for me. Okay. Okay. You see that one?
Yep. A social worker meets with a new client at the university's health center. The client shares with the social worker, no matter how hard I try, I just can't focus when I'm in my core classes. I keep zoning out and daydreaming, and I miss important content. Which of the following is the best example of reflective listening by the social worker? So you have a social worker who's meeting with a client, and the client is saying no matter what they do, how hard they try, they can't focus when they're in their core classes. They're missing important work or information. And the question wants to know the best example of reflective listening,
Okay. And I know that reflective listening is what?
reflecting on feelings.
Got it. Got it.
Okay. A, it sounds like you're more interested in the content of your elective classes than your core classes. B, it seems like you really want to pay attention, but you haven't figured out a strategy to effectively do so yet, and it's keeping you from learning what you need to in those classes. C, it seems like your busy schedule is keeping you from being able to stay engaged in all of your classes. D, have you tried taking notes on the key points of your on the key points your instructor make throughout lectures? So, um, I would like to get rid of A,
Okay.
and I also would like to get rid of C.
So now I'm between B and D, and which one is my better answer?
I think the better answer is B,
And tell me why.
because we reflecting on the client's feelings, and he's saying that no matter what he do, he can't focus, and so we're reflecting back, what he's saying.
The other ones, it sounds like I'm trying to fix it, doesn't it?
Yep.
And reflection is just giving the feelings words, right? And most of us, I think that's a skill that most of us have learned that, when clients come into us, we're not trying to fix it, are we?
No.
We just want to be heard. So whether it's paraphrasing, which is fine too, I put it in my own words, they know that they were heard, or I use reflection, which is the feelings words the client didn't say. Either way, the client knows that they were heard. You guys, do you realize that you've used these terms this week? Because I don't want you to figure out we're like studying for something that's not real. Can you recall that where you use reflection with a client where they just didn't give you the feelings words? We need to tell me about your week. How many clients did you see?
Mm, I didn't have a really busy week this week.
I think everybody was freaking out because there might have been a storm where I live. I'm just gonna put that out there, right? So, my focus is on bread. Okay, okay. I don't eat bread. I'm not gonna lie, I do eat bread, but I just make my own. So people are like, oh my God, you've got to get your bread. You get your bread. I'm like, I'm
Okay.
worried about dog food because I make my own dog food. That's my biggest issue. I did do a post this week on my somewhere because I have a generator. My generator is hooked up to my computer. I have a huge computer system. I don't need heat. I just need to be able to work. Okay, so my question this week on my focus this week was on I have gas that has been sitting in my garage for probably 6 to 8 months, and I hadn't touched it. And I know better. I know better. I know you're supposed to like put the gas in the car and reuse the gas, but I work 1,000 hours a week. I just don't have time. So my biggest concern this week was, can I use the gas that's never been touched in my generator? Because I have to work. My clients could care less. If you got a test coming up, do you care if I have power or not? Not at
I
all.
mean,
I own a
I
business.
care.
Yeah,
I care.
whatever. And I got enough backup powers. But again, when I bought a generator, it specifically is hooked up to I've got this amazing computer system. I have 4 screens. I run like this, blah, 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 1,000 megahertz. I don't know. That's all that matters is can I work? Okay. I have a backup on my computer. So even if the power goes out, it's still going to run for about 30 minutes while I figure it out. So no, no, this week that was my major concern. Okay, and I don't know what your concerns, but when whether what's just this is crisis or trauma related, were your concerns not different this week than a normal week?
Well, I'm in
No.
the north, so I'm used to the snow. So it was just like,
But even then, didn't you get more smoke than you used
I haven't looked back out there yet. Earlier today, it was on average. So
to?
it's
Okay. So
like,
so when you live in the South, if it looks like snow, the city shuts down. It doesn't have
gotcha.
to snow. It just has to on Friday, when there was a hint of snow, they closed schools for Monday and Tuesday. It didn't have to actually snow. That's when you live in the South, we don't know what to do. We just don't know what to do. And I know the Carolinas because I've been watching the news and they've been talking about, oh my God, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So how did you do in Carolina? You're in North Carolina, right?
No, I'm not in any other Carolina. Oh, go ahead. 984. I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, I was trying to get to the volume button. I live in South Carolina, so Dr. Pam, I concur with you saying. Yes. It's crazy. It's crazy. The thought of snow is like things start flying off the shelf at Walmart. We just get crazy. And I moved from the north too, so I
Yeah.
understand both perspectives.
It is honestly, this is how serious today was. I had an eyelash appointment today at 8 a.m. Okay, I get my eyelashes done Sunday at 8 before I go to church. It's a standing appointment. It works. It works well. It works for me. I understand. Yesterday, like, do you think we're gonna make it? Should we be there for my eyelash? In major cities, that's not a thing. Y'all just show up because there's salt and sand, blah, 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 blah. Had to cancel my eyelash appointment because she didn't want to drive in at 8. It would be fine on a normal week, but I'm leaving for Mexico City on Friday. And yes, they do eyelashes there. But when you get a new eyelash girl, if you know, not many people want to work over anybody else's eyelash. They want to like
Mhm.
start all over. And I'm like, I'm trying to work and travel. This ain't no vacation. I'm trying to work and travel. This ain't missing no thousands of dollars just because. And my schedule's totally booked this week because I'm off Saturday and Sunday. Those were just travel days. But dang, it's been a rough week for me. So, and we didn't even get any snow. So I say that to say when we're focusing on those crisis things, it's just different. It's different. It's different. So normally we have at least 10 people in this group, but this week I'm not surprised because, whoa, it's a different week. It's a different week. Okay, let's get a couple of other questions in. Okay. This one was that was a yes. Okay. Who's next?
I think I'm next.
Okay, we're going to go back to then if we're talking about indirect practice and supervision, what do we do? So remember, indirect practice always talks about anything that's not direct practice. Okay. So then whether it's community or whether it is requiring supervision, those are my indirect practice questions. This is a pretty popular question. You might have seen it before. Go ahead.
There has been an increase in youth violence and drug-related deaths over the past year in a community where a social worker is employed. The chief of police and mayor have asked the social worker to reduce these problems by developing a plan that involves the community. What should the social worker do first? Um, there has been an increase in violence. A police chief has reached out to a social worker to help with decreasing this violence and come up with a plan to include the community on how they can resolve their problem, basically. Um, what should the social worker do first? Organize a series of trainings for the community, establish a team of impacted individuals that will tackle the issue, set up an opportunity for gang members to talk to one another, and D, employ the leaders of the community to be in charge of the project. Um, police chief and the mayor asked the social worker to reduce these problems. I'm gonna rule out C.
You don't want the Bloods and the Crips together? What? Am I
No, not as
missing
a first.
something?
No, not as a first
You know,
step. And
we could.
mm,
Uh,
mm.
I remember having a conversation with the mother, and she said to me, he's a disciple of Christ. That's not a gang.
Oh,
Not my baby. He would never be in a gang. It's called Disciples of Christ. Are
okay.
you effing crazy? I didn't say that out loud, but what? Oh, then why they meet in the hood every weekend instead of at a church if they disciples of Christ? Did I miss something? Why they got to wear the same colors? Okay, anyway. So,
Um, I'm gonna rule out A as first.
so when you're looking at this question, I hope you're going down the list, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
assess feelings. But again, it may be none of those, particularly in this question, because it's the intervention question. I may have to do something, but I'm always going to rule out anything where I can intervene, where I can assess before intervening. Okay. So
That involves the community.
you're
Um,
between B and
and
D.
D.
Okay, and we're going to go back to the question. Which one answers the question?
There has been an increase in youth violence and drug-related deaths over the past year in a community where a social worker is employed. The chief of police and mayor have asked the social worker to reduce these problems by developing a plan that involves the community. Um,
Hey, Guanique, girl, you on my community staff. We hired you. We got a grant money. We paying you like $80,000 a year. All we need you to do is make all these problems go away. Reduce the problems, okay? But you got to get a plan. If you're developing a plan, what would you do first?
establish a team of impacted individuals that will tackle the issue.
Absolutely. That's my assess question, isn't it?
Yes, it
Let
is.
me gather more information. The people that are being extremely bothered, if and this is a community question. If I invite the elf community, if Granny, if you're 97 and you ain't never seen a gang and they ain't bothered you, please don't show up to my meeting. Let's face facts, right? Because we want to go back in the day. No, Granny, if you have never been robbed, you're not afraid to leave your house. Please just don't show up. I know that's mean, right? But I'm stepping on toes purposely. When we have community meetings, I want the people that are affected. What happens most often is I get the people that don't have anything else to do. That ain't helping me. Yes?
Yes.
Hmm. Don't go away. I can tell you that's, oh, okay. I can't get that to go away. Let me try that again because that's not the right answer. Okay, we'll skip that one. Sorry. So of the following, which of the, let's read it. Of the following, which option best describes a high risk factor for self-harm? And B is not my answer. Can you talk to me about risk and protective factors? Anybody?
Risk factors include exposure or trauma-related events or
Okay. So in risk factors, they're dynamic and static risk factors. Static risk factors are things I cannot change. Okay. Yeah, your daddy went to prison before you were born. I can't change that. That's a risk factor, right? But it's static. Dynamic risk factors are things that I have some control in. Okay. So the fact that you live in a neighborhood where there's high gang violence, that's a risk factor.
Mhm.
But if I can change that, if I can give you other things, that's a dynamic risk factor because I can change that. Protective factors. Do you know the fact that your mom and dad both signed your birth certificate is a protective factor? We know stats say that if both mom and dad sign the birth certificate, there is a 50% greater chance that you will finish high school. They don't have to be married. They don't have to be together. It's just a protective factor. Those are just facts of life, right? If your mom and daddy make more money than average, that's a protective factor. You could do the same thing, but protective factors are things that protect me because all of us are exposed. I like this theory. Let's go back to Katrina, way back when. You probably weren't even born. So if we look at Katrina and the people that were standing on the bridge, what did they look like? Y'all saw some white upper middle class people on that bridge?
No.
What? The hurricane was coming for everybody. If I had someplace to go, if I had some money, if I had a plan, those were protective factors, right? If I didn't have any of those things, and I promise you today, when this storm came through, my first thought going back to Katrina is it's the end of the month. And we know that our clients that live on government assistance, that check comes on the third. At the end of the month, there ain't no money left. That's a risk factor. Okay. Things like that are things that we look at of how our client will do okay. So, of the following examples, which option best describes a high risk factor for self harm? So, what I know then is of these things, which of these would make my client be more likely to self harm? And I said that B is not an option. Who self harms? Do you know?
Borderline.
In general, borderline is definitely diagnosis, but what demographic population usually self harms?
White females.
We're seeing an increase. of people of color, but in general, are those the people that have self-harmed? You better die if you if you took that. You better die because your mom gonna kill you. I know it ain't right. I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying, if you're gonna take that night that the little thing to your girl, you know how much a hospital emergency room costs? If you don't die, I will kill you when I get home. Okay, okay. So none of what if those are American things. We just we don't play that, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that African American people don't attempt suicide. It just means that mental health is a this generation, but it's not a past or before that generation. When you talk about generally coming to therapy, our Asian population is going to be the least one that comes. I've been in this field for 30 some years. When I very first started in the field, I didn't see the people of color that I saw had money. That whole HMO thing that the therapy was available for everybody is very, very recent. I was one of the core providers for a major league baseball team and a core provider for a major airline. There were pilots, and the pilots that I saw may have looked like me, but they had money. They had money. So this whole thing of like everybody now can afford therapy is very new to people of color. Asian population, they're never going to come anyway because it's very different. For most people of color, it was a financial basis. Okay. Okay, so going back to this question of the following examples, which option best describes high risk factor for someone who's going to self-harm? Okay, I'm going to take out A. If you work all the time, my granny said we ain't got time to worry about that kind of stuff. We got to go out and pick the green beans. We don't have time for that stuff, right? If you're at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you don't have time to worry about self-harm. I know it sounds bizarre for this generation. I understand that, but this is the history of where we're coming from. So now I'm between C and D. Of these groups, which one of these is at most risk and not suicide, but self-harm? Either anybody.
Let's say having a small social support group.
Not at all.
That's not, oh, see?
No, it's
Okay.
no. As long as I have a support group, I don't care if there are 3 people or 7 people.
Right, long if you have a support. It's C. I'm sorry.
It is C. It is
Yeah,
C. It is C.
sorry.
Okay. I don't care how big your support group is, as long as you have a support group, you're okay. And I think this is a very tricky question. What I need you to understand is that I'm going to take out B, is that self-harm and suicide are not the same. They're not. There are lots of people that self-harm that are not suicidal. Are we good with that? That's still going to go away. Okay. However, of the 4 choices, C is the best choice of the 4. Are we good with that? Do we see how
Yes.
we answer those questions? So many times is we know the answers, but we still struggle when it comes to what's the question asking me. And I've got to pick the best of the 4. We're going to do a couple more, guys. Let's do about another 10 minutes. And I'm going to maybe enjoy some free time. I've heard about that stuff. Okay. There's 3 of you. Who wants this one?
Jazzy practices is from a strength-based perspective. Which of the following questions, given her perspective, would Jazzy ask her clients in order to have a collaborative approach to treatment? So they was just trying to match and reference the intervention of strength-based perspective. What
So
would
I'm
you
going to
answer?
say to you on the test, this is code for solution focus. The
Hmm.
miracle question, the accept question, the scaling technique. If you woke up tomorrow and things got better, what would it look like? So strength base is not focusing on the problem, it's focusing on the solution.
Okay.
Okay, let's read all four.
How many kids do you have? Do you work? How have you overcome this issue in the past? And what is your education level? So I would exclude A, B, and D and pick C as the right answer.
Very good. That's the accept question for solution focus. When was the problem not a problem? So knowing every question is a KSA, that's a theory behind that. It may not feel like it, but it's still a theory behind that. Mastermind, take this one for me.
Tina, MSW, is Ron's case manager. Ron spends the majority of their appointment expressing anger about how he was treated at a food pantry. Tina nods her head and uses simple language to validate Ron, such as, I see. Tell me more about that. Which of the following techniques is Tina using?
Stand my question. What happened?
So Ron is angry, or Tina is the social worker. Ron is angry about how he was treated at a food pantry, and Tina uses simple statements and nod her head. And they want to know which of the following techniques is Tina using.
Okay, very good. Let's rule out what's no way, no how my answer.
C and A.
Okay, so we don't ever do sympathy. We do empathy, but we don't feel sorry for our clients. That's what their friends are for. Okay, so now it sounds like you're between, oh, come on, find that out. So now you're between B and D.
Okay, I will go with D.
Very good. What's projection?
Projection is, well, I'm projecting my thoughts and feelings onto you.
Things about myself that I don't like.
Yep.
Okay, and remember, projective identification is going to talk even more about than in a family, right? I'm going to keep adding things on future generations. Okay. Okay, Quinique, this is you. Wow. Let's see if I can. Okay, there we go. Let's look at that, Whitney.
Whitney, a therapist, is serving Matt, age 15. While establishing rapport, Whitney notices Matt does not have an age appropriate vocabulary, depends on his parents for basic problem solving, and has tantrums involving crying, emotional detachment, and sitting in a fetal position on the floor. Which of the following approaches should Whitney use in this treatment? Whitney is a therapist for Matt. He's 15 and he doesn't have age appropriate vocabulary or behaviors, it seems like. Um, which of the following approaches should Whitney use in treatment? DBT. B, tell Matt he needs to resolve his behavior before providing treatment. Create a service plan which fits Matt's developmental stage. Or D, refer Matt to a specialist. I'm going to rule out A.
I would use DBT for what?
Borderline.
Okay. And not only borderlines, but anybody whose emotions, most often little kids, right? Because their emotions are um, taking control. Like, nah, 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 we ain't doing that. Okay.
And I would rule out B.
I can't treat you until you get your behavior together, Matt. We don't do that, right? That would be so nice, wouldn't it? Okay, now we're going back. We've got both C and D. We're going back to the question.
In going back to the question, Matt doesn't have age appropriate vocabulary, depends on his parents for basic problem solving, has tantrums that involve crying, emotional detachment, and sitting in a fetal position on the floor. And because of that, I'm going to refer Matt to a specialist to see if he has any delays or any other issues
Are you
before
suggesting
treating
you're
him.
going to assess first?
Yes,
Okay. So in this one, it's definitely a treatment question, but I still need to assess first. Does that make sense? Remember, we
yes,
get paid to be nosy. We get paid to be nosy. We want to ask all the questions. If I refer to somebody else, it doesn't mean that I'm just still assessing. Okay. Okay, dokie. I will always tell you guys, I will have a life one day. You know that, right? Just because I've been saying that, you can watch my videos, just because I've been saying that for 10 years, I will have a life one day. I take that back. I had recent surgery. Normally, I bowl on Sunday nights. I had some recent surgery that I can't bowl right now. So, but don't be acting like it's going to be always this way. Trying to grab this question. Mastermind, I think this is the first time you stayed for the entire group.
It is.
You ain't got to work tomorrow because of the weather.
Oh no, I still have to work. I work from home.
Oh. So what happens the other times that you don't stay?
It's my attention. I don't want to sit and fall asleep. I can't focus. So at 8 o'clock, I have a cut. Then I have my son. He usually gets in bed, and I have to put him in bed and stuff.
Okay, dokie. Okay, we're gonna do everybody. This is your last question. Not enough why.
Yes.
Okay, read this one.
Okay. A social worker was recently promoted to a supervisory position in the community mental health center. One of the social worker supervisees has been with the agency for 15 years, appears to be very committed to the agency, and exhibits a large display of knowledge when it comes to client issues. However, while reviewing the supervisee's case records, the social worker notices that there are some discrepancies in the services, and that has been provided to certain clients. Okay, which approach would best allow the supervisor to determine what is occurring? Okay, so is a social worker promoted as a supervisor working in an agency? There's been some discrepancies in the case records, and they're trying to find out the best solution for the problem. So I see A and B. I can't see the others after B. If you move it up a little bit.
I am trying to go back and reset my screen. Let me see if I can do this differently.
Okay. A. Right.
Is that tiny, tiny, too small?
No, you're fine. Oh, you gotta move it up some. I just see A and B. Okay, right there. You're fine. Right there.
Okay. Okay.
And invite the supervisee to discuss whether any difficulties occur in working with the particular groups of clients. Okay. Inquire amongst other agency workers if they have observed favoritism displayed by the supervisee towards some clients. Work out a schedule of observe the supervisee's work and client contact. Mail an evaluation survey to randomly select the pool of supervisee's clients. Okay. Which approach is best? Okay. Let's see. Which approach is best to determine what is occurring? Okay. Let's move out mail and evaluation survey. Take out D.
Okay.
And then there was another one that I seen. Acquire amongst other agency workers if they have observed favoritism displayed by the supervisee. So I'm take out B too. So it's between A and C.
We're going to go back to the question.
However, the client's review is okay. Let's scroll down a little bit. You can scroll down a little bit more. Okay. Okay. A social worker was recently promoted as a supervisory position in the community mental health center. One of the social worker supervisee has been with the agency 15 years, appears to be very committed to the agency. Okay, and there's a large display of knowledge when it comes to clients' issues. Okay. However, while reviewing the supervisor's case record, while reviewing the supervisory case record, the social worker notes that there are some discrepancies in services and that is provided to certain clients. Okay.
Some people get treated a little bit differently in my agency.
It may be some favoritism. So I took out the wrong one. So B matches the vignette or the paragraph, rather, whatever you want to
Are you
call it.
saying that you need to assess first?
I do. Inquire about, yes, need to assess first. Absolutely. That's
Very
exactly
good.
what I took out
Very
the wrong.
good.
Is B. I'm sorry. It took me a
Very
minute to
good.
get to the answer.
No, you're good. The goal is to go back to the question. Go back to the question. How do I know what they're asking me? Go back to the
Mm-hmm.
question. It's a reading
Mm-hmm.
test. They are, I promise you, they're not trying to trick you. They're just trying to see if you understand what we do as social workers and what the rule is of how social workers behave. That there's no evil gods out to get you. I know it doesn't feel that way, but it's really true. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was your last one. We're going to do one more for mastermind and as well as Clinique. So this is definitely more of an Elsie question.
That's for me, Doc.
It is, it is. Can you see it? Am I sharing?
Yeah, I can see. In a counseling group, the miracle question allows members to. So you counseling group, and they want to know. The question wants to know what does the miracle question allow the members to do. So
Okay. So in my question, I have to understand what is the miracle question.
if you woke up tomorrow and things were different, what would it look like?
Okay. That's solution focused. Yes. So now we're going to read all four.
Okay. A, envision individual and interpersonal changes that will be noticed by other group members if the problem disappeared. B, suspend personal responsibility in favor of group hope and cohesion. C, pursue a shared spiritual awakening as a therapeutic goal. D, conceptually merge spirituality with solution focused techniques. All right, so I would eliminate, B,
Uh, boy.
yes.
Okay. Now let's keep going.
Um, and I will also eliminate share spiritual awakening. C,
Okay. Now between A and D, which one of these would be my best choice?
C, envision individual and interpersonal change that will be noticed by other group members if the problem disappear or conceptually merge spirituality with solution focused techniques. I want to say that A is the answer.
You would. Very good. Now tell me why.
Um, Vision is,
I'm
um,
in a group session, first of all, right?
yes.
Okay. And the miracle question is if you woke up tomorrow and the miracle happened in a group setting, what would it look like? Okay. So that's the best answer because that's what it looks like in a group setting. And it's always about the group. Well, it's about this particular question. It's about the group. It's a reading test. Did I mention that before?
You did, Doc.
Okay. And that's the goal is really understanding is what is the question asking me? Because you've probably seen the miracle question 1,000 times, and I don't know if you have or not, but not necessarily knew what it meant, okay, or how to apply it. Okay, and this is yours, Connie. Okay. In your chat box, you can see it there. Okay. 3 is, I'm just gonna regular exercise, good nutrition. all over again because obviously I did not copy that right. Okay, let's try that one more time. Okay, which is, it's a not question. Which is a not question. Okay, that one. Not a one. That's a one. That's a two. That's a three. And that's a four. Oh,
Okay.
just saying. Lord, 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 Lord. Can't you, child? Just let me figure this out, Lord. I can't be lapping the mountain 40 times. Okay, and I took my numbers away. Okay, you
Okay.
see the question.
Yes.
Okay,
What,
it is
what,
a not question. Whenever I see a not question, I focus on which of the ones are true. Okay,
okay.
let's read and figure it out.
Which of the following is not a secondary prevention strategy, which is a primary prevention strategy? Um, A, regular screenings of those with risk factors for an illness or disease. B, regular exercise and good nutrition. C, modification of work assignments for those who are injured. And D, taking low doses of aspirin for those with heart conditions.
So let's
So,
stay in the question. Do we know primary, secondary, and tertiary?
primary are things that you do before an illness or disease
Okay. So,
occurs.
so let's talk about alcohol and drug prevention. So, what does it look like with little kids that get primary?
Programs at school like Dare. I don't know if they
Ding,
have
ding,
Dare
ding.
anymore.
Yes, yes. I don't know. Some kind of just say no to drugs.
Yeah.
Say no, just say no. Okay, good, 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 good. Okay, so now, so primary goes to everybody. Secondary
Mhm.
are people that are higher risk that just say no, it's not going to work for. And tertiary is when they already have the problem. Okay. So when I see this one, which is not a secondary prevention, I'm going to rule out the ones that are secondary preventions.
Um, Modification of work assignments for those who are injured.
That is a primary prevention because they already have the problem. Good. I'm sorry, that is a secondary prevention. Yes.
Um, and D, taking
Yeah.
low doses for aspirin.
I can tell you this is an old test because my doctor told me to stop taking that low dosage. I don't know why, but she did. It's like Dr. Pam, anyway. Okay. But yes, 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 because I have high blood pressure. That is a secondary prevention. Absolutely.
And then I'm down to A and B.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm going to take out A because they have the risk factors for the
Oh,
illness or the disease.
okay. So are you suggesting that B is my answer?
Yes.
Very good. So that primary prevention goes to everybody. Everybody in this room, when you go to the doctor and they tell you to step on the scale, and I tell them, you need to take my blood pressure before I step on the scale. Just Just saying, because that sends my blood pressure up when I step on the scale. But the goal is the doctor's going to say to you, how much water are you drinking? How did you get your fruits and vegetables in? That's a primary prevention. Okay. I do realize that today was not necessarily about, let me stop recording.